Hey guys, welcome to Comics with Bueller. As always, I'm Bueller. These are old interviews I've done at Comic Cons that were on live streams. They're like 3 or 4 hours long. I've cut them up so you guys can see them individually. There's people like Jim Starlin, Ming Chen from Comic Book Men, Chris Claremont, Emma Kubert, just to name a few. So do me a favor, check them out. They are a little bit dated, but they are a lot of fun, and I look quite a bit different on these videos as well. But there'll be a playlist so you can check them all out. And at the end of this video, a new video will be able to click on to see that interview. So anyways, take your time, watch them, enjoy them, and I'll see you at the end of the video. Hey man, let's talk about your book.
Sure.
Let's talk about the Radiant Black book.
Okay.
And you know, let's just go ahead and get right into it, man. I mean, it's like the main character couldn't hold its weight, huh? Just decided to kill that guy off. We'll put you on the spot. Come on, man.
You know, there are some people who haven't read all 5
I know.
issues.
This channel is dedicated to comic book collectors.
Yes.
And we are mainstream.
Okay.
You were talking to the people that were waiting outside the comic book shop every Wednesday.
Love it. So
this is who you're talking to.
Here's what I would say. There are a whole lot of comic books out there, in particular, a whole lot of superhero comic books out there on the stands right now. You can go into any store and buy them, where not anything can truly happen.
Yeah.
Okay? I'll put it that way.
Sure.
This is not one of those books.
Yeah.
This is a book where anything can happen.
Yeah.
Truly. It's both a celebration of superhero and superhero comics, as well as I don't want to say like a redefining or anything as broad as that, but we are trying to do some different stuff.
Yeah.
I would also say that I have the first 3 years fully mapped out.
That's awesome.
So as far as characters not pulling their own weight, I would spin that back and I would say maybe there's more to the story.
Maybe a team type
issues. Thing. No, I wouldn't say that either.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a lot of assumptions going on.
Of course, a lot of comics are all about speculation.
Yeah.
So
and what has actually honestly what's been really fun is seeing that speculation.
Yeah.
And then watching people realize, well, no, that didn't happen either.
Yeah.
What I thought, like, well, what is this book? Where is this going?
Sure.
Like, that's a lot of fun. That's
what kind of got me when I read the first one. I thought it was interesting. I did fall off the next two. A buddy of mine brought to my attention. Come on, man. I got to be honest. Kyle, get it back over here, buddy. Yeah, I hope you can appreciate my honesty. And then my buddy of mine says, hey, man, something happened in this issue. I go, are you serious?
Yeah.
And I was like, so I went and picked it up. And I was like, wow, that takes guts to do something like that. And to kind of go the other direction. And now the next issue, so I won't spoil the next one. Okay.
Well, if they're lining up, so I mean, if they all lined up on Wednesday, then they've read it.
Yeah. So, but it's not a turn I saw, like you said, anything can happen. And I thought that was interesting. So it brought me back on the book.
Yeah.
And so things twist and turns that you don't see coming.
Yeah.
That's what makes me want to go check out a book even more.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's awesome to hear. I appreciate that. I think the other part of it too, that what's been really interesting to see kind of in the discourse now with the book is like, you know, our first big, and I say first, big twist was at issue 4.
Yeah.
And as you just said, you fell off after 1. Twists only work.
Just so you know, I read a lot of books.
No, I know. But
a lot of books.
My point is though, like, because I've heard some people have asked me, like, well, why couldn't you do that earlier?
Yeah.
It's like earlier than issue 4.
Yeah.
It's like, because if I did it any earlier, there's nothing for you to invest in or care about. That twist doesn't matter then. It just is one more shock twist for the sake of shock twist. There's no emotional investment. And considering what I know the story is going to become, those first 4 issues are fundamental to the series that we're going to be exploring as it goes forward. So it's what's really funny to me is, like, when I was building it, I was thinking to myself, like, this is too early. This is really early to be doing what I'm about to do. And then the counterpoint is that some people are like, it wasn't early enough.
Yeah.
I say, wow, like, it's I love the different perspectives on stuff like that, you know, and what people expect the book to be or are looking for out of a book, obviously can vary wildly.
Yeah.
You know, but it does seem like by and large, a lot of readers have appreciated that we are willing to take some pretty extreme left turns, and that they don't have a great handle on what they think the book is now, and that part's exciting.
So I'm a little curious. You know, Image obviously at this point is not really well known for their superhero brand. The Image in the beginning it was. That's kind of where they came.
Yeah.
But now I've kind of seen a resurgence in them trying to bring some more quote superhero type books in their lineup. Was this a hard sell to get them on board? Or?
No. Eric Stevenson and I have talked about superheroes for many years. I did a big superhero series in 2014 called Cowl, which is based on a film I directed as well, and it's a 1960s superhero labor union in Chicago series. So there has been some superhero stuff at Image. Like to your point, the company's built on the foundation of Spawn and Savage Dragon, and Shadowhawk. Who am I missing?
Wildcats.
Youngblood. That's Youngblood and Wildcats for sure. But I would even say Pitt. I would say the Max. Like
Max.
That stuff.
Must be some Pitt.
So in 2018, I want to say, I was building out something that was the beginning of what would become Radiant Black. It was very different and set very far kind of in the future. And it was going to be a very small in scope thing. It was going to be just like a 6-issue thing. Yeah. But I really liked the name that I'd come up with, which was Radiant Black. And I really liked the iconography and Source of Powers, which were the miniature black holes.
Sure.
And then Eric asked me randomly, he's like, hey, have I ever talked to you about doing an original superhero series? And I was like, well, what do you mean? He said, well, not like a Batman or a Superman analog, but like something new and contemporary. And I said, well, I would kill to do that, but I assumed there'd be no market for something like that. And he very much thought that there could be, and he was right. So we built out what has become Radiant Black as a modern contemporary series. And I looked at it going, if you can't pick your hits for starters, but I was really excited to take a really, really big swing. And if I'm going to do that and put as much of myself and as much as my time and energy into taking that swing, which includes a ton of social media stuff, like a big animated trailer that we did ourselves, like an original music for each issue, like all of this stuff, hopefully this will be a book that is around for a long time. And the best way to do that, I thought, was to make it as personal as I could. The book's not about me, but there's a lot of me in the book. Mm-hmm. And what that means is that if it does keep going as it's going, 10 years from now, hopefully I'm still going to want to write it because the character in the series can grow and change as I grow and change. Yeah.
So you talked about a little bit of you in the book. Mm-hmm. So the very first page is this thing right here. Do these numbers, because this looks like mine almost. those numbers right there, savings account and credit card balance deal. Is that anything significant or just random numbers?
The numbers are not significant, no. But I've got some experience with with bank loans and credit card debt for sure. I mean, the character is very much in the spirit of like a millennial kind of reinvention of like the Peter Parker kind of everyman archetype. So what do money problems in 2020 and 2021 look like? Yeah. I know so many people who had to move back in with their parents, who have tons of student loan debt or credit card debt. I'm kind of at this this kind of like weird generation where my ex used to call us the Oregon Trail generation. If you're old enough to remember walking into a classroom and dying of dysentery on the Oregon Trail on an old Apple II, you're not a millennial. Like we remember before we didn't have the internet in my house till I was 14 or 15. So I'm that last pocket that remembers before and went through the transition. And so
that's all right.
Yeah. No, it's just through my train of thought. So just looking at kind of the promise of the American dream, right? Like for prior generations, the idea of that kind of American dream was a lot more, if not actually attainable.
Yes.
The perception was that it was more attainable.
Yeah.
And I think
it was the easier road to get there.
And I think a lot of us don't feel like it is anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty much kind of dead.
Yeah.
And so, okay, what does that mean for an everyman millennial Peter Parker kind of reinvention?
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that really interests me, and all the characters going forward. We're going to be getting into Radiant Red in issue 6, and that backstory, like that's very much tied to current generational issues and challenges that we're kind of all dealing with. So
yeah.
Very cool. We have a really good friend of our channel, Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers.
Okay.
And he has called Power Rangers, Your Run on Power Rangers, the most underrated superhero book ever created. And I would agree with him. There are a lot of guys that are our age that haven't dipped their toe in because they feel,
Sure.
you know,
Power Rangers, yeah, I get
exactly, with Power Rangers. But it was an amazing run. And so this latest issue of Radiant Black, some people have said, kind of feel like it was maybe going a little Power Ranger direction here. Can you speak to that at all?
Well, I don't know what that means. I don't know if they're saying that like they don't like that idea, or if they're saying I don't know. Like, what I'll say is it's not Power Rangers. From a sales kind of comp standpoint, describing the book as Power Rangers for adults is not the worst comp you can make. I would argue it's far more Kamen Rider than Super Sentai.
Love Kamen Rider.
Yeah, I mean, like, these people are all individuals.
Right.
Clearly, Black and Red weren't friends. Red killed. Spoilers.
Right.
Spoilers. Red kills, the main character in issue 4, Nathan, and Marshall takes over. So I would say it's far more kind of independent agents and operatives. But as far as what everyone's motivations are, that's something you're going to start to see over the next couple issues. So, so I guess
I think maybe because of the colors, I don't know, but it was like, is this going to start going in a Power Rangers direction?
But they've never read Power Rangers, so what do they think that means?
Exactly.
I've never read a Power Ranger book, I gotta say.
I'm gonna walk off again.
It's one of those things. I had 2 younger kids, and my son went Yu-Gi-Oh. My daughter went Pokemon, and those were the 2 things they really got into. So whatever they got into is what I followed.
Sure.
So if it would have been something else,
I was a Power Ranger fan when I was like 8. I was 8 in '93, so I was the tail end of the age kind of range, and I remember it being crazy popular.
It was huge,
crazy popular. And then 6 months later, it was the most unpopular thing in my class of all time. But I still liked it, and it was like, oh well, I guess I'm not allowed to like this anymore. So I'd gone through this with Ninja Turtles and with the
welcome to closet nerddom.
And so I was like, well, I'm just not going to tell anybody I still watch this. And I wrote a letter about it in the back of issue 1 of Radiant Black, actually. But then when I got the book in 2015, or when I knew the book was something that Boom wanted to do, and I saw the covers that Goni Montes did of the helmets, they just look like sleek, shiny, brand new cars, right? And it was like, that, I know how to write that. I know what that can be. And so I reached out, and they were still looking for a writer. And so the way I describe what I did on Rangers is like, I was not writing Power Rangers as it existed. I was not writing it even as I remembered it existing, but I was writing it as I remembered it making me feel. Like this huge scope and this larger than life mythology and this like high school clique drama and will they, won't they? And one of the guys, the green one, keeps losing his powers, and it was just like this huge, almost operatic story. It felt like. Yeah. And so that when I came on the book, it was like, even if that's not what in practice it, looking back, was, they had a lot of limitations they were dealing with, and it was a show for kids. And I just looked at that and went, okay, but I can still do that. I can do the spirit of that, but make it work as a contemporary superhero team series. Yeah. And so, long story short, all your friends should read Power Rangers.
Absolutely, I agree.
Or they can just read, Power Rangers for adults. I mean, you could just
Radiant Black. There you go.
There you go.
Awesome. Well, it's got to feel pretty good to come up with something unique. This is something unique to something in your brain that you basically took pen to paper and made it happen, and you've had a huge positive response on this. So congratulations.
Thank you.
On making it happen. And obviously you said You said you have 3 years planned out on this, so
Yeah.
we're not running out of Radiant Black material anytime soon.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
And a movie in the works, right?
Something. I mean, I've got some big plans.
I
I'll put
bet.
it that way. So
That's awesome, man.
and that's the nice thing. It's the best thing about doing books at Image.
Yes.
Is Marcelo and I own and control everything we create.
Yeah.
Radiant Black truly is ours.
Yeah.
So that part's pretty good.
Yeah, talking to we've had so many legends here in the industry, and the one thing they say, almost all of them, like, have the rights to your correct characters that you made. You hear that time and time again. Jim Starlin says that every single time I've talked to him.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the thing that like I say it slightly tongue in cheek, but it's 100% true. Like at a certain point, you get tired of building worlds for other people.
Sure.
Like what I did on Power Rangers, I am very, very proud of, but I don't see a dime when they make action figures of any of the stuff I created. They don't even send me a figure. So it's like, you do that for so many years, and I've done a lot of big 2 superhero books, and I do love it. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a very different itch to scratch than doing a creator own though.
Sure.
On the creator own, I can be across everything. I'm across the logo. I'm across back matter with Michael, our amazing editor and designer, like character designs, like even lettering styles. Like I get into color. Like you can really have a hand in everything as opposed to just being the writer, and the fact that again it's ours and there's no publisher. There's a lot of really shady creator-owned publishers out there too. Like it's becoming even worse. Like it's infuriating. It's predatory, in my opinion. A lot of these publishers going out and trying to, if not own outright the IP and the ancillary media rights, they will at the very least control them for the pittance they paid you as a page rate, as a co-creation project. But then you are not going to be involved in any sort of meaningful way to adapt your own work. Wow. And then on top of that, like the option money that gets paid tends to be the only money that's actually guaranteed as a comics creator, because the closer something gets to getting made in live action, the less likely it actually is in certain ways. Right. And so that money is gone as well, or divvied up amongst the publisher and the creator, but only after they subtract your page rates that they paid you from the option money. It's like, what are we doing here? Right. This is exploitative to creators. And sure, comics is an industry that is historically incredibly exploitative to its creators. I hope that can change as we kind of hold some of these publishers' feet to the fire a little bit more in the creative community anyway.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Kyle, thank you, man. I appreciate you coming over here and talking about your book. Appreciate that. Do me a favor. Can I have you sign this one for me?
Of course. Yep.
I don't have a book signed by you. And I'd like to, that's the thing from Another World exclusive.
Yeah.
That's actually my local LCS.
Oh, which one?
The one in Milwaukee.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
There you go.
All right. Appreciate it, man. And
have a good rest of the show.
It's on my pull list.
I love it.
There you go, man.
All right. Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
Hey, guys. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed those interviews. I had a lot of fun. Even the ones with Howard Chaykin, you know what? He just is who he is. But do me a favor. Check out the playlist. Check out the video that pops up next. It's another interview over the years. And I think you're going to enjoy my time with these creators. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget to live your best life. You know what to do. I'll see you next time. Bye.